Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from asortofinterestinglife.com, and today we're going to write ourselves a nice little letter. I've got everything laid out inside, right down to the wax seal for the envelope. So I'll just turn around and say, for anybody who's watching this as one of my first videos they've seen, then yes, I do live on a little boat, and well, what lovely scenery we've got, and a nice bit of blue sky. Here we are on the inside, and I think it's time to walk straight down to this far end. Quick look out the window, lovely scenery and all that sort of stuff. And really, if we have a look at what we've actually got here today, we've got some Basildon Bond envelopes there, obviously some paper, and you can see I've got the lined sheet underneath the top part there. Obviously a little bit of blotting paper. Got our wax seal with the DMB initials on it. That is my set of initials. And of course, we've got this lovely manuscript dip pen. And obviously a bottle of ink. Now I think I'm going to use just the smallest nib on the dip pen. And I mean, I'm not a super calligrapher or anything like that. So I'm just going to use it as a normal pen and write in my normal writing, which nobody will be able to read anyway. And before we start, I'm going to chuck a load of wood into the fire and hope that starts itself burning nicely. So the first thing that we want to do is obviously get ourselves our pen ready. So first of all, out comes the pen holder piece. Like I say, I'm going to just try and write normally, which in my case is still very scruffily. So I'm going to use the thinnest, smallest nib, and then just pop that into the end of the pen holder there. Careful not to put too much force and bend the nib. That'll do it, it's close enough. And then also add the little reservoir part to the back of the nib. So that means that it can hold just a little bit more ink, so that you don't have to keep dipping in every 2 seconds. There. Pop that on top of those, hope I don't knock it over. So, first thing needed to do here is obviously write the address of the sender on the top corner here. So today is, if I check my phone, I think it's the 25th. Flipping heck, 25th of February already. And let's go. And I don't know if you can see that there on the camera or not, but just because this is a nice flexible, very thin nib, already just from doing basic standard writing, as you can see, my terrible own personal handwriting, it's already adding in that little sort of calligraphy effect of thicker and thinner pieces of line depending on how and where I'm writing. So, as I fill in the address here, I've decided to go and keep it nice and, novelty, and put the Narrowboat down. So it's Narrowboat Tilly, Llangollen Canal, Chirkbank, Shropshire. But obviously I do luckily have a postal address at my mother's house. I suppose I better introduce who this letter is being written to. Some of you who are into your writing and things like that on YouTube will already know Romany of Romany's Realm, and well, here we go, let's collaborate. So this is going to Romany, who has a YouTube channel that's filled with all sorts of arty stuff and journaling, and basically how I fill my pages of my notebooks with just scribbled words like this. She actually fills them with artistic stuff that takes more time, effort and some actual talent to do. Now you can see here where I've got a little bit of extra ink come off from the reservoir there. That's where my skill or lack thereof with a dip pen comes into play. Now we'll start writing this letter, but I'm not going to show you everything that I write, because then there's no point in me sending it. Right, let's make this into as dramatic a reading and writing compilation as it can be. Dear Romany, I hope that this letter finds you well. All is quiet here on the canal, for now, which is definitely a huge relief after being rocked around like I was on the high seas. And fade away into another clip. So at the end of the page we need to just pop the blotting paper on so I can start writing on the back, and this just takes up any excess ink to stop it smudging, hopefully. Shouldn't be too much excess ink. Like I say, I'm using the thin nib, and you can see just the last bit that I've written has taken up the ink onto the paper there. So Now we need to be very careful. Sorry, I'm speaking with this in my mouth. Lovely, lovely. And you can see there is very little bleed through on the paper there. Obviously you can see that there's something written on the other side, but none of the actual ink itself has seeped through. Right, we have finished writing our letter. So, we'll put the pen and everything to one side. Make sure, for heaven's sake please, that you pop the lid back on the ink. That's vital. And now, it's time to fold this up, pop it in an envelope. You can see that is why I always put the ink on something. As you can see, there's a bit of runoff gone onto the plastic outside of the envelopes. Just a good point there. So I shall fold this up, pop it in an envelope, then it'll be time to do our wax seal, the final piece of the puzzle. So wish me luck for that. So if we have a look at one of these envelopes, you can see first of all, if I fetch it up, it's got the Double B Basildon Bond watermark logo in it. And also, I know that these have already got a self-seal lip on the envelope, but we're still going to use the old sealing wax, because where's the fun in just peeling that off? Right, let's pop this in. As you can see, it's obviously the paper and envelopes are the perfect fit. Now, wish me luck when it comes to this wax seal. You can see there I'm starting to get ink all over my fingers from the writing. Pop that down. Now, this is somewhere that I really do need all the luck in the world to make sure. First of all, are we lined up with the camera? I've tried cutting away. Wow, there's a lot of smoke coming off that, and that's going right up to the smoke alarm. Now, hopefully, this will stay lit. But the ink that this is putting out, the wax this is putting out, that doesn't want to stay lit at all, does it? That's interesting. It's not interesting, it's not very good for this video. You can see the wax that's putting down is extremely thick. So I'm going to have to try and do this the old-fashioned way. Well, I am doing it the old-fashioned way just by using a wax seal. But the even more old-fashioned way, using a lighter, a separate source, to try and get this ink to this wax to melt down so I can make a seal out of it. Now this obviously is an extremely messy way to be doing this. And certainly not the way that it should be done. Well, that is a shame to end the video on a low note and not have the perfect seal that I was hoping for. But let's just stamp this in and see how it goes anyway. And lifting it up. See, I'm surprised that instantly, if we fetch that up into focus, you can see that it's actually still created that really good clear stamp. Obviously, I mean, I'll just break these little bits of excess off so you can see that how quickly it goes cold and is perfect to just then tidy up. Well, I'm impressed with that, you know. I thought that was going to be a total disaster on the wax seal front. Certainly not ideal, because obviously I would have had all of the wax going into that circle, so it could have had this nice fine lip around the whole thing. But fair play, that hasn't turned out too bad. Please forgive me that it's not the perfect seal, such as, I don't know, this one here. Yeah, I'm going to call that a success. Right, time to write the address on, stick a stamp on it, and we'll send it away. So, I will say thank you very much for watching. I'm very happy that that seal saved itself when I actually put the stamp onto it, after how awkward it was to try and melt the wax with a lighter. So thank you very much for watching. Check out my other videos, subscribe, like the Facebook page. Almost 700 likes now, amazing. Thank you all so much. Feel free to add my personal account on Facebook and also, of course, Twitter. And if you're really interested, then please, please, please check out my 2 books about living on board a narrowboat. The Narrowboat Lad and The Narrowboat Lad Living the Dream, available for Kindle now. And on that amazing sellout note, I'll say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you around soon. Farewell.